Hi, I'm Rigger. This is Your Right, and it's episode 8 of RWBY Volume 9, and yeah, that fan, everything is hitting it. It's pretty interesting. We have lots to talk about. It was a killer episode, literally. So without further ado, let's get into it. We join proceedings with RWBY running through the paper forest, so she didn't semblance too far away. She just semblanced far enough away and then ran on foot. Fair enough. She runs and runs until she can't run no more. And she has a little breakdown. And Little says to her, who of course stowed away, who was still with her when she left, that you really need to stick together if you're gonna go home. Well, that seemed very poignant, and it will come up. Because by the end of the episode, they won't be in the best shape to do that. But either way, this conversation continues. And RWBY starts saying all the things we knew she would say. She finally gets round to her breakdown, or the start of it at least. She promised she would serve as a huntress in Atlas. She promised she would keep her friends safe. But the truth is, I can't do this. I could never do this. And she tells Little if you stay with me, you'll end up dead too. And that one kinda hurts. Anyway, she basically screams at Little to try and send them away. Gets them a few steps away and then goes off herself, seemingly alone. Literally walking in darkness under a spotlight. Well, not literally, but literally for us. But she does have someone on her tail. A mysterious blue butterfly. Hope that doesn't come back. Anyway, it's from here that she crosses acres, and she sees a big, pink house. And can I just say that with my analysis video of Neo, I kinda called that she would get her own place and make all this stuff. Kinda called that one. Woo! Anyway, so big pink house with some big pictures, and those pictures, well, the first picture at least isn't anyone that RWBY recognizes, the second one a little more, and the third one even more. Weirder still when that picture talks, because it's Torchwick saying hello. But not only that, he leaps from the portrait and introduces RWBY to some old friends. Basically the dead characters of the series. We've got Penny, Pyrrha, Leo, Osborn, Clover, and Ironwood. And they're having a tea party. I'm wondering if I should summarize the whole episode like this, or if I should start talking about the things now. What I will say is, the voice for Torchwick is pretty good, for sure, especially for this, which will surely be his last appearance, you'd think, unless we get one more flashback or something. So, yeah, the Torchwick voice is great. It's very nice to hear some of the other characters again, in a painful way that it's meant to be. The performances are all really good. They are a bit stiff, but I think that's on purpose, because it's not really them, obviously. Especially with Pyrrha, but then again, Neo did not know Pyrrha very well, so this continues to make sense. And talking about earlier analysis, at least, when we went on about the opening, back when we were studying the opening and trying to decipher this image, I will say, I did say that seemed like Penny, so I got that one too. Small victories where you have them, and this is where the power of Neo's semblance really starts coming out. But before that, Torchwick starts explaining things. Actually, we'll get back to that. We cut over to Weiss and the others quickly, where Yang is distraught that RWBY ran off like that, and trying to rationalize it out, where Weiss finally steps in, which is what I was hoping she would do. And Weiss says that maybe she felt like she couldn't talk to us. And that really, the point is, I think, in the next line, where Yang says it's not like we were asking her to be perfect, but the difference is she doesn't know that. It's that communication thing of no matter how you feel about a person, even if they're someone you love from the bottom of your heart, their relatives, anything, sometimes people don't know the things you don't tell them. It seems so obvious to you, but you haven't expressed it, and people can't read your minds, and it sometimes can be hard to realize what are feelings you have and what are things you've actually said. And I think that's a really important point. And I think that might come up later, because given what happens at the end of the episode, there might be some real heart-to-hearts that need to be had by the ending. So I think that might be one of the things that we need to do. Just like when Blake and Yang did their confessional, it was all the things they never said to each other. I think that also goes for family and loved ones too. And leaders and people you put faith in. Telling them, it's not like we ask you to be perfect. We weren't asking you to be perfect. That wasn't what was expected of you. But as far as RWBY's concerned, it was. It was her responsibility. And she didn't have that audible, conscious support from her teammates. She didn't feel like she had it. It was there, but she didn't know that. And I think that's a really important lesson. I think that for all the craziness of this episode and all the things we're going to talk about, I think that's one of the most important things, actually. But we cut back to RWBY, and she very quickly is told that once Neo figured out where she was, by Torchwick, that she could do anything she wanted, well, then the gloves are off, right? And then Torchwick starts the deconstruction of the hero. You know, everyone thinks they're the hero of their own story. But for you, really? And they start on this, maybe it would have been better if you were never here at all. Maybe it would have been better if you weren't involved in any of these things. Just like remembering way back to what Cinder said, not way back, last volume, for what Cinder said, you know, you should have never been born at all. And Neo is running with that. Maybe you shouldn't have never been born at all. And RWBY, to her credit, does not buckle completely. She responds angrily. She says, if you want me dead, come get me. But Neo says, through the others, you don't deserve to die. You deserve to be torn apart, broken down, wiped from existence. You know, death is too good for you. So, amidst all this lovely animation, and it's quite nice, we do see a looker-on. Little is in the rafters and watching what's happening, unable to really help. And this is where the emotional attacks really start, where Penny comes up, you were too late to save me from the festival, and I died at Atlas. You're just piling all the guilt on RWBY. Everything they can do to break her. And I think it's quite effective. I can already see the people who complain about this saying, oh, you know, it's clearly not real. Like, they even have Neo's eyes at some point. These are clearly illusions, and RWBY knows they're illusions, and they're openly telling her what they're trying to do. They're trying to break you. But the truth of the matter is it doesn't really matter at that point, because RWBY thinks these things herself. And it's quite clear what they want to do is they're trying to get her to drink the tea. Neo has made tea with the leaves from the herbalist, which she has devised or deducted will give the receiver over to the tree. You know, will take them to the being remade, and that's what Neo wants to do, to just destroy RWBY, to make her drink, and she will therefore stop being herself. She'll be sent to the tree, she'll be remade, she will no longer be herself. Neo will have succeeded not in just killing RWBY, but wiping RWBY from existence. There will be no more RWBY. A revenge much worse, perhaps, than death. To have to live and not be yourself. To not even know what you lost. Very dark, and I like it. Good stuff. I'm glad that Neo didn't have the brakes put on her because people like her. No, she's still a bad guy, and I appreciate it. There's a quick fight where everyone seems to have all their talents, which means that RWBY is fighting Pyrrha and Penny, which means she loses very quickly. Her aura is broken, she has no chance, and she is just pretty broken. At which point, the former headmaster version of Ozpin begins wailing on her with a cane, very Torchwick style, and hits her and berates her, and RWBY can't take it anymore, grabs a scythe and whing, cuts that guy down, except when she looks again, it's Oscar, who bleeds and calls out to RWBY in shock and dies on the floor. Again, it's all illusion, but very, 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 very confronting, and yeah, RWBY collapses. And it's one of those things where you remember that these are all people that she thought not only were dead, but someone like Oscar, who isn't dead, she thought she'd never see him again, and now she has to be confronted with his death. And even if it's not real and it's not at her hands, that could be happening right now, and she doesn't even know. You know, it's all these very confronting images. And it's funny, when he did get cut down, I thought, that accounts for the warning at the beginning. Little did we know there was one more bit of heartbreak to come, but I quite appreciated it. I really like when RWBY takes the gloves off and lets itself be a little more violent and a little more dark, and actually follow through, not just with dark themes, but people die and things happen. So it's pretty cool to see. And in this one, only one dies, and maybe not really, but we'll see. Anyway, RWBY is laying broken at the body of Oscar, and all of the dead images become the rest of her friends, you know, the rest of Team RWBY, all judging her and staring. And they slide over the mug again. Go on, RWBY, drink the tea. And bam! Laser beams! Big blue laser beams! RWBY is saved! The cat is here! And did you see this heel turn coming? Because I sure did. No surprises, but, still intimidating, because the cat says, "That's fine, I can be you instead," standing on her chest and starts to attack her with his heart control-y thing. He says that he's been trying to wear her down for so long. This is why he didn't want her remade or gone, because the cat literally wants to be her, to replace her, to take over her, because he has been cursed with curiosity. He wants to know everything. He must know everything. But most of all, what he wants to know is why his maker left him here. Now, I'm gonna call another theory that I said that I think the cat is the crown. And yeah, I'm really thinking that still. I know it has lots of crazy powers that, exceed what the crown can do perhaps on Remnant. I think it's the crown. It doesn't fit anything else. Like he said, he's not like the others here. He's been cursed, but I think maybe that it's because he's not meant to be here, and I go into it in that video. I think the cat's the crown, and the fact I think it's leaving with them is solidified here, because the cat starts to try and take over RWBY, but at the last second it recoils. Ow! Little has bitten the cat's tail. Bravo, little guy. Not a moment too soon, Little is there to keep the cat from completing its awful task. And with that distraction, another person returns. It would be Neo, because the cat is getting in the way of this whole revenge plan. So, fight. And the cat is knocked away, and thank everything that Little is there to help RWBY squash. No more Little. RWBY was correct. Staying with RWBY will get you dead. Little just got extinguished by Neo's foot. I know a lot of us would like Neo to step on us. Little did not want that for obvious reasons, but it happened anyway. And this is the last straw for RWBY, who, despite the fact her friends heard the gunfire and attacks and ran to save her, she drinks the tea and falls through the world to the tree and is gone. Now, there is more than this. I actually thought the episode was going to end there. I was enthralled. I was like, oh, that's the end. Let's just, before we continue with the plot, let's remember that Afterlings don't really die. When they die, or their purpose runs out, they return to the tree to be remade. Little, I think, is dead, in quotes. I hope he's dead. I don't want him to be, paralyzed or anything on the ground and suffering. That would be horrible. So let's hope that Little is dead, in quotes. But I think Little will be back. I think Little will help us in the end. There will be because Little didn't really know their purpose, was supposed to try and take them back, was supposed to be their guide. And that was, I guess, Little's purpose, but Little failed. So perhaps Little will come back as something that can complete the purpose, a savior. The new knight, maybe, because Jean probably has to leave with us too. I do think he's coming with us, for everyone he says they don't think he is. I think Little will come back and be our savior in the end. It will help us fight the fight. And yes, that will probably mean that he doesn't remember, or whatever. But, we can mourn for our little mouse friend, but I don't think it's the end completely. Neo still did stomp the hell out of that mouse, though. Anyway, at this, Neo is confronted, because she succeeded. Now, she starts going into catatonia. She becomes catatonic. She is freaking out. As Torchwick is monologuing at her, the house starts crumbling around her. It's breaking apart. Her mind is breaking, as it seems. And Torchwick is going, no, with your semblance stronger than ever, we can do whatever we want, Killing Little Red, offing Little Red can't be the only thing you ever wanted. But it seems like it was. Neo doesn't know what to do. She has no purpose now, as far as we can tell. Now, I would have thought that getting revenge on Cinder would have counted, but perhaps in her mind Cinder is so far away, it's in another land, with no idea if we'll ever get back there. So, her real only purpose, her driving force of destroying RWBY, has been achieved. She is now left with nothing, and with nothing to do, does nothing, and sits there unable to process. So, the cat decides, this is fun, because the cat was very upset that RWBY had disappeared, clawing at the tree's roots that were covering the hole in the ground. Very, very distressed, because it was his one chance. But hold on, there is another chance. There is another broken individual directly in front of him who could be of use. So, the cat goes for Neo, and does a great transformation becomes big and evil. He laser beams, he Kamehamehas the team away in big blasts and gets to Neo and literally dives down her throat in some amazing visuals. The cat is excellent here. I love it. And he takes over Neo, who has the amazing cat face. It's awesome. It's so cool. And he says, well, this body will do. And then, apparently maintaining his power, he completely shatter travels towards the tree. And that's where we leave things. And he does say again, the tree isn't a place you go, it's a place you know. Saying, you can't just get there, apparently. Although it seems like that's where we're headed, because the team is looking off towards the tree, because apparently RWBY went there, though not by normal means, and the cat is going there, and Little, no more Little. Little is a little flatter than before. So, yeah, time for the tree. So we got the heel turn of the cat, which I was waiting for, but it's very good. Hearing Neo speak with the cat's voice with all the effects is really cool too. Just very confronting. And Neo, who had such distinctive eyes, to now have the cat's eyes is really cool too. Lots of really cool visuals. Well thought out, striking visuals this episode. I really enjoyed it. The choreography was cool because we had to sort of give the impression of a whole fight without showing a whole fight, because it would have been very complicated and a lot of moving pieces, and it wasn't the point of what was happening. The point is just RWBY loses. As for everything else, I always thought that if we were going to leave anyone behind in Ever After, it would be Neo, and I talked about that in my Neo theory, that she would live out her fantasy here. That may not be the case anymore, because the cat may use Neo's body to get through the door, and that might destroy her. I still think the cat is the crown, and when it returns to Remnant, it will become the crown again. And that, if he does it while inside a body, it might completely destroy it, and that might be our death of Neo. So no one has to actually kill her, so no one gets any dislike from the audience for killing a character everyone likes. She is now a vessel for curiosity. And that's when I said someone died. I think that the person who most died, if anyone, is Neo, because she's not herself anymore, and I don't know if we'll get her back. Maybe we will. Maybe she'll do something heroic in the end. There is a chance that maybe the cat is nothing, and that he's angry at the gods more than anything else. He just wants to get to the gods. When he talked about how silly the gods were, it seems he was bluffing. Or he knew but didn't really know the whole remaking Heart-Nose thing. I think that he wants to see the gods again. And you might say, well, he won't find them on Remnant, but if he's a relic, he might. If he is a relic and he wants to be reunited with the others, he might see them again, because that would summon them back and he could ask them. If there's any chance to speak to the gods, it's as a relic or through the relics. So, and definitely not here in the Ever After, it seems. So the cat wants out. And either way, the gods made him. Gods made everything, because they're gods. So I think that's his goal. Now, I don't know if a possessed Super Neo will continue in our story on Remnant. So I'm thinking that either it's going to turn back into the crown, or she's going to eject it somehow. And that may be it. We might have to have a heart-to-heart moment. Speaking of heart-to-heart moments, there's something I'm not looking forward to that I think they're going to do. And it's just a personal preference. I've talked about this before. Which is when Penny was hacked. I do not like people being controlled, or people being mind-controlled, or people having memory things. And someone gets to do the appeal. You're in there, I know it's you. I love you, or I knew it was you in there all along. Come on, come back to me. And it just works. I just don't like that trope. It's just something I just dislike. And what I'm hoping is that doesn't happen with RWBY. That's what I can see happening, is RWBY goes to the tree to be remade into a new person, and she chooses a different path, whatever, and she forgets her memory, but the team interrupt halfway through, or they burst into the blacksmith shop somehow, in that nether space. It's in the tree, or whatever. And they stop her, and she's out of it, and they go, come back to us, RWBY. I'm your sister, I love you. Come back, yeah. And it works, and she just comes back. I don't want that, so if we're doing something, can we not do that one, please? Just a personal request. If it happens, it happens, what are you gonna do? But that does bring us to RWBY going to the tree. It's something that I think a lot of us thought would happen in one way or another, being the whole remade thing, that she's going to have to confront that head on. And you don't introduce a character like the blacksmith or whatever without seeing them a second time. You don't just appear once. And we have that speech to do. The what if you could shed Ruby Rose like an old cloak, or whatever the speech was, that we haven't heard yet, the one from the trailer. So that will be when we see the blacksmith again. They'll give that speech. So it seems, yeah, Ruby went willingly and is going to be offered to be remade again, and she's going to have to find her purpose. For everyone saying that we are going to spend another volume here, I just don't think so at all. It's the type of thing you really sort of confine to one volume, one special volume away, and the things to here don't have to all be resolved. You know, they're not complete characters when we finish. It's just time for everyone to deal with all their things, then get spat back into the world, and they can continue to evolve and resolve once we're back in the plot. And now we have moved to the tree with 2 episodes left. I think that's really what's going to happen. We have our final showdowns coming. It seems like next episode is probably going to be, if we're going to see more of some of the things, that's where it's going to be. And then the final episode's going to be resolution. So, fight, or debate, or whatever, sacrifice, whatever's going to happen to get everyone home, who's going home, whoever that is. And then back to Remnant, glimpse of Remnant, probably something confronting and harrowing, and then cut to black, and then we finish the volume. Seems about right to me. The pacing of this volume I've really enjoyed because it's been quicker. And like I said, I wish that we had a 14-episode volume with everything at this pace. We could get so much done. But still, we are on track to leave in 10 episodes. Should work out alright. Now, as for who's going home, I think everyone's going home except for Neo. And if Neo does go home, she won't be Neo anymore. I think this is the end of Neo, or at least we're on track to the end of Neo. I don't think this is the very last Neo, but we might get a flashback or something, Neo fighting with her mind and ejects the cat or something like that. I could see like they're traveling through the gateway to go home, and Neo spews up the cat and grabs its back leg and drags it back to Ever After with her, and they both remain trapped there forever as her, redemptive deed at the last moment. Not that I think she needs a redemptive deed, but either way. It's all speculation, of course, but I do wonder if we've reached her end, because again, she wasn't really factored into the ending of this. I have thought for a long time about how RWBY ends, and there are lots of things you could do with Neo in the end game of the plot, but they do have to find an out for her at some point. If that end is really factored into the relics or something, that would be cool, something dramatic, something involved in the plot. It does make me wonder, though, what if she does return? If she is a living relic, if her and the cat merge into one being, then they can't kill her? Or I don't even know how that would work. That they have to reunite the other 3 relics with Neo, the person, who's like half the cat? Who knows? Lots of cool stuff, lots of ideas. It's a very interesting prospect, but I really feel the cat saying, "Why my creators left me here." His curse of curiosity is in fact not a curse, it's his nature. And yeah, I have possibly a second theory about the cat that I might make in time for next episode, or maybe not, we'll see. It's sort of like a throwaway one that I don't actually think it's correct, but it would be fun to talk about. But we'll see if that happens. No promises. Either way, this episode, a lot happened. We had action scenes, we had all of our cameos from the past. I hope that everyone really enjoyed them, because I don't know how many of those people we'll see again. I think it was interesting who spoke and who didn't, what voice actors we could get. I, for one, thoroughly enjoyed our Roman appearance. And yeah, I was right about how we get Roman and all that it's just Neo semblance going crazy. I called that one way back on the Neo theory that her semblance makes these beings. So yeah, I won a few points on that one. I'm pretty happy about it. A few things off the checklist of things I predicted. I'm still waiting. That cat, that's going to be a cat you wear on your head. I'm just saying. It does make me wonder how the others get to the tree, though. If they have to do something specific to get there. Because the cat can get there, it's said as much. Neo obviously goes with, and then the others are, left stranded. And they don't have their guide of Little, not that Little knew what to do either. Do they all drink the tea? Do they follow Stead and all arrive? That would be a huge moment. A moment of solidarity with RWBY, that unknowing what to do but needing to follow her, they all drink the tea. That would be very, very interesting. It would have some creepy undertones of a very real incident that happened with a very real cult that would be disturbing. But, I'm fine with disturbing. I think that's enough of my rambling. It's the time to think out loud for these episodes. Either way, that was a very cool episode, a very interesting episode, a very dark episode. It got to explore a fan favorite character for a lot of the episode and gave them a really interesting, cool, intriguing, and weird future. It's gonna be something. So yeah, I guess we have to wait till next week to figure out what that will be. But until then, my name is Rigger. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope I did alright.